All right, guys, I want to welcome everybody to another weekly episode discussion of Conversations with Cougars. And I've got Marquez White in Dothan with us this evening. Good evening, Marquez. How you doing, bud?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
It's so good to see you, and I appreciate you making some time for us tonight. And for those of you who may remember Marquez, he patrolled the defensive backfield and ran. Did you play point? What position did you play in basketball?
I played all of them.
And started the basketball court for the Cougars back in the day. Quez went on to Florida State, Dallas Cowboys, and played in the pros. And we're going to catch up with him. He was a 2013 graduate, and I'm so glad to have this former Seminole and decorated Cougar with us this evening. So thank you for making some time for us, Quez.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's kind of where I usually start is what's going on with you now. So fix folks up, and then we'll go back to the old days and relive some good memories. So tell folks what you're up to these days.
Right now I'm back home. Just recently transitioned back home to Dothan. I had a procedure on my Achilles about 3 weeks ago, so I've been back home, rehabbing that. Just trying to recover from that, get back in shape. I also have a food truck here. It's called Meals on Wheels Food Truck LLC. Just been grinding away at that, man. For the past pretty much 2 years, off and on in between me playing ball and being back home. What else? And just being a dad. That's it. That's pretty much what I do. And I think the last one is the one I enjoy the most.
Oh, absolutely, being a dad. And how old are your children?
She's 6. I only have one. Her name's Alayla. My only child. She's my daughter.
Well, as the proud father of 2 daughters, there's nothing more special than a daughter's love for her father. So I wish you the best with her. Tell us a little bit about Meals on Wheels. Where are you located in Dothan? What kind of food are you providing? Tell us a little bit about that.
Meals on Wheels. We're located at the Piggly Wiggly on Montgomery Highway in Dothan. I would say our specialty item is chicken wings, but we do seafood, just a number of different things. Just kind of, bring my creativity to the truck along with the people that I got working with me. And I think we work good as a team. The business has grown. I've been in business 2 years. Like I said, just trying to get it to where it is now, going through all the growing pains of being a small business owner and trying to, go through all the ins and outs and doing that. But I kind of used a lot of the lessons that I learned on the football field, just going through my career from, whether it's from coaches or players or the situations in the game, and then just try to apply that to the business life. And that's part of just transitioning, just when you're not playing ball. Because I'm still playing football, but things are kind of up in the air with this whole pandemic thing. Playing in the XFL and went how that went. But right now I'm just working on just building my brand and building a name for myself outside of football within my community.
Well, good deal. Now, is the truck, is it stationary or does it move around town?
In the past, I have been stationed. I have moved around in the past. Right now, I kind of like the spot I'm in. It's in a good spot. The guys, it's crazy. The guy, Mr. Ricky Treadwell, that owns all the Piggly Wigglies in the area. He's actually a Gator alum, and his wife is a Florida State alum. And it's crazy how we even met. My strength and conditioning coach from Florida State is actually Mr. Ricky's godson. And once he found out that I had a food truck, he was able to put me in with him. And I think that's been the biggest move for my business since I've been open. Just having somebody that, want to work with me, just see my business grow and genuinely cares about small business owners in the community.
Wow, isn't that wild how small the world can be and the connections that you make. You never know where they're gonna be. But Quez, we've got a whole bunch of folks who've rolled in, and some of whom want to say hey to you. Big E, Eric Easley,
Okay. Keith, what's up? How you doing?
Jackson, Mark Kingery, Butch Henderson, Keith Rice. Some of these guys were my teammates, and I know that you know some of the others.
Right.
Say hello to you. And for you guys who are just joining us, we're talking Marquez White, played for Northview, played for coaches Wayne White and LeBron Stewart. And let's take it back to before you went to Northview, Marquez. Did you grow up in where did you go your middle school years?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Dothan, man. I went to Cloverdale, went to Girard. Middle school, I went to Girard Elementary and Girard. No, I went to Girard Elementary and I went to Beverly when it was Beverly. I think it's a magnet school now or something like that. Played 2 sports there. Um, Still friends with still, keep up with a lot of the guys that I grew up with and went to middle school with. Still seeing around the community.
Well, that's some of those guys who you went to Beverly with. Did they then come to Northview with you at the same time?
Yeah, a few. I mean, we kind of scattered. And then just prior to that, a lot of the guys that I went to school, that was the first time we ever like were apart from each other and had to go to different schools. When we went to high school, a few of my friends, we ended up going to Northview, and a few of them ended up splitting and going to Dalton High. But it was always fun just getting a chance to compete against them in sports. They always got the best of us in football, but basketball was what we really, really wanted to, make our mark.
With you playing two sports all the way through high school, was it hard for you to pick up one sport and leave the other when the seasons were over, or how did you balance that?
Not so much in high school, because I was sneak. Even during football season, they really didn't want us playing basketball. I would always leave the back door open to the gym at Northview, and go in there late night. That's when I first got a car. When I was like 16, I would leave home, sneak out at like midnight, 1 in the morning, be in the gym, shooting, and come back to be there for football workouts in the morning. So it's little stuff like that. But yeah, I enjoyed all of it.
Do you still have the keys to the gym?
They probably changed them now. But for a while, I had one.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, it's when you were in middle school, did you have the idea that when you got to high school that you were going to continue playing both sports?
I think I was always I always lean. I won't say a basketball player, but I always lean more to basketball due to the fact that my mom wouldn't really let me play football up until 6th or 7th grade. Actually was 6th grade. I was playing for the Falcons, playing City League. Coach Greenwood, now that's at Dalton High. He's my cousin actually, and this when my dad he was in the military, so he was overseas. My mom had this whole thing about Quez, you too little, you're not playing football, this and that. He ended up talking my mom into letting me play, and I think he could probably vouch for it too. It was the first time I played receiver then, and I wore number 16 because of Larry Brackens. He was a huge influence in my career, like just growing up. I remember one time he came back from Tampa, and I was in City League. He ended up signing the jersey for me. Just a bunch of it was just crazy for me being young and seeing him. But the first time I ever touched the football, I scored. It was like a 60-yard touchdown, and everybody was asking me why was I running so fast? And I remember telling them because I didn't want to get hit. So even to this day, I wouldn't say that's a strong point in my game.
You didn't want to deal with mama when you got home.
That either. I didn't want that either.
Well, was there ever an issue when you got to Northview that you would end up playing both sports? Did you ever have to have conversations with the coaches and say, look, I love both sports. I want to play.
I didn't really have to have that conversation. It was kind of natural. Just me wanting to play both sports. I know in 8th grade, I tried out for the varsity team at Northview. On top of playing football, I tried out for the basketball team at Northview my 8th grade year in middle school, and I ended up making the team. So right then, I know a lot of people thought I was gonna be a basketball player, which I think I started liking football because of my older brothers. Both of them played at Northview. Roger Thomas, he played defensive line. He was like number 97. He graduated in 2010, and I had another brother, Derek Thomas. He played running back. He graduated in 2012. 2009, I think it was. Something like that. One of those. and they kind of, led me to play football. But, it was never a problem from the coaches with me playing both sports.
Did you get to play with either of your brothers at Northview, or were they much older?
I played with Derek my freshman year. This is when BJ Chitty was a quarterback. It was his senior year. So BJ was a quarterback, and then Derek was running back. I played receiver then. It was my freshman year.
Well, I bet that was pretty cool to be on the team and get to play on the same side of the ball with your brother.
That was cool. That was cool. And I had a younger brother too that I got to play with him 1 year too, Jalen Thomas.
You're in the middle, like Caleb Easley told me last week, with Kennington being older and Colby being younger. He got to play 1 year with Kennington when I think that's what it was. Forgive me, Eric, I can't remember. But I do want to introduce or say hello to Revis Gertman and Josh Andrews have both joined us. So thank you guys for spending a couple of minutes with Marquez White and myself. Kez, let's talk about your freshman year at Northview. Going into that fall football season, did you know what position you were going to be playing? Who was your coach? How did that go?
Coach White was Coach White was my coach then. I don't think I even had moved to DB. I don't think I made a move to DB up until my sophomore year, and that's when Coach Stewart was there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. My freshman year, played receiver. I think I was pretty good at it. My first catch. I don't know. I had a lot of plays for my freshman year. I think kind of not solidify me, but just let people know that I was a young guy that was serious about my craft. That's one thing that anybody that was around me I'm sure that they can attest to that. Like no matter what I did outside of the court on the field, when I was on the field, or when there was anything, that was helping me get towards my goal of being a professional football or basketball player, whatever it was at that time, that I took it really serious. And I kind of wanted to set the tone just coming in as a freshman too, letting guys know that. Because I knew that had to be, it was seniors there, it was juniors there, it was sophomores there. I was the only freshman on varsity my freshman year. So a lot of guys, they kind of felt how they felt about that. Like, the new guy coming in, he ain't that good, I'm better than him. And just knowing that I had to go out, not compete only against them, hold on against them, but know that if I didn't, having that older brother on the team too, that was holding me accountable. And I think that taught me accountability, which is important too at a young age.
Well, I'm sure your work ethic helped to solidify your position, not just with the coaches, but with the other players who you might have been replacing. And I get it. You didn't just walk into a position and they handed it to you. You had God-given gifts and you worked hard. Do you remember your first varsity game? Do you remember any of how you felt or going into that game? Were you excited, nervous, all of that?
I remember my first varsity game. I was probably 160 pounds, maybe, play receiver. I was always long and lanky, but I was really little. I remember we was playing Auburn. Our first game, they had you remember a guy, maybe D. Finley, I think that was his name. They had a big, huge lineman that went to Florida, and they had a defensive back from Auburn High School that was committed to the Gators at that time. And he was a senior. And I remember Coach White, we went over this play like all week in practice. I think it was like a play action play with BJ. He had to fake it. And if they was in quarters, I had a post route, something like that. It was in quarters, first play of the game, first snap I ever took, first catch of my career against, I think the dude was he was like the number 5 corner in the nation at that time. He was a 5-star recruit. And I'm going to Florida. And I bombed for like 7 yards, like the first play of the game. And I didn't score, I got caught because I was slowed in. I was a freshman. He ran like a 4.3. But I remember it was like a 7-yard game, first play of the game. And I feel like that kind of set my career off to, because even then I liked football, but I was still a basketball player.
Well, I was getting ready to say there's some similarities between the sports and the mindset of the athlete. They're so vastly different. You're knocking heads in football. Basketball is supposed to be more finesse and quick lateral quickness. And for those who, like yourself, who are blessed with athletic gifts, maybe it's not that hard of a transition, but at least from a mental standpoint, it just seems so different. But
Right. I want to say that it's definitely different. And I know a lot of people, they was actually just having a debate the other day about which sport was harder, basketball and football. I can say for me, growing up, basketball was, I loved the game, but when I got to college and I was playing basketball, and I would see how those guys are really, really athletic. Like, and it's a different type of skill set. Because think about most basketball players are 6'4", 6'5", or taller type deal. And in the NFL, if you 6'4", you 6'5", you either an offensive lineman or you maybe a tight end if you slim, or you playing defensive line or something like that. So the skill set is kind of different, but I think I transitioned well, man. I just love sports, so whenever I could play both of them, I could.
I suspect that whether it was playing ping pong or any other sport, you had a pretty competitive streak in you.
I was a lot more competitive in high school than I am now. I would say I'm still competitive in high school. I just can remember like some of the zones that you could get in, that I could get into, just whether it was on the court or on the field, and just being in that zone, man, is something that all athletes, that they experience at some time in their career, and just knowing that I don't know, just having, I think it's just really the respect for both games that I had. Just
Sure.
wanting to just do my best when I'm out there.
Well, Kez, we got Kalima Thompson says to tell you hello. Coach Josh Parrish have both just joined us.
How y'all doing?
Well, Kez, what was it about being a Northview Cougar that made it special for you?
I think it's the tradition. It's tradition. Like from Northview, Lawrence Dawsey, on up, just starting with him, man. Just knowing he was a huge influence too, just on my career too.
Mine
Just
too.
just the pride that the guys have, like just the old heads have, just growing up. My dad and some of my uncles that played at Northview, and the stories my dad would tell me about, when they played Dalton High and how serious it was, and you didn't care if it was your friend or your best friend or your brother, or just the championships that was won back in the days, people, still holding near and dear. Some of the coaches that's came through, a lot of the players that came through. Northview just has a lot of tradition, and a lot of people that's very powerful, still, and a lot of Cougars too. So
Well, besides Lawrence and your dad and some older family members who played, who were some influences when you were growing up, and who were some players who you patterned your game after?
just growing up, man, Patrick Reynolds was probably, like, you cannot tell me that I was not gonna be Pat Reynolds when I was in middle school and I would see Pat play. If anybody remember Pat Reynolds, he was really, really good. And still to the, like, even when I see him now, if I see him around, I have to tell him, like, bro, he was that deal. But Pat Reynolds, I would say BJ Chitty, he was definitely, an influence on my career. You cannot tell me I wasn't gonna be BJ Chitty, And I wanted to go to Northview. When I was at Beverly, I never wanted to be a Dalton High Tiger ever in my life. Just as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a Cougar. I mean, it started with them guys, Spencer Pavis, just all those guys, man, like just crazy talented. And I feel like teams that never reach their potential, their full potential, just because the luxury that the kids have now is being one school. Although it's still people, Northview and Dalton High, I feel like the kids benefit more from it, especially in athletics, because it was things that Northview had that Dalton High didn't have, that they needed, and vice versa. And now, you got all the athletes, all the best of the best athletes in the city on one roster. Um, I think they're gonna win the state championship sometime soon.
Well, I know the current school is one of the biggest schools now in the state, maybe one of the top 10 population wise. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't compete for state titles in a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Florida State. How did you end up being recruited by Florida State? Did you know of others other than Lawrence? Did you know Sean McCorkle or any of the other guys who might have gone from Northview to Florida State? What was it about Florida State that did it for you?
I think my freshman year, this is a crazy story. The first time I ever visited Florida State, it wasn't for football, it was for basketball. I think it was my sophomore year. And we went out to a team basketball camp. Yeah, we went out to a team basketball camp. Because my freshman year, I was already getting recruited. I was getting recruited by Alabama, by Coach Pruitt. I was getting recruited by a bunch of, little schools, but nobody had really offered me yet at that point. But I was just getting recruited just by we going to 7-on-7s and stuff. But we went to a team basketball camp, and I ended up hitting I had a game where I hit 30 points, and I had one where I hit 40, a 50-point game, I believe. It was crazy. I was just going off in front of all the Florida State coaches, the head coach, Coach Hamilton, all the assistants, ended up helping my team get to the thing the Final Four, the Elite Eight of the whole basketball camp. And there's at least 200 teams there from around the nation, and our team ended up making it. And after the game, they end up coming up to me and get my information, and boom, they start recruiting me. Fast forward to this is my sophomore year. Fast forward into the fall, they invited me to on an unofficial visit with the basketball team, and I ended up going to the football game. And this before I even knew. All I knew was Coach Darcy coached at Florida State, but I had never met him like that type deal. And I remember saying to myself, if I ever play football, the only two places I ever played football at is Alabama or Florida State. And I remember Greg Reed, he played corner for Florida State, one of the all-time great corners that ever played at Florida State. I remember him coming out in warm-ups, and he was dynamic on punt return. Anytime he caught the ball, you would think he was going to the house with it. And he came out in the way he was controlling the crowd, getting ready to play the game. Was crazy, man. The atmosphere was crazy. And from then on, it just kind of was. It was crazy how it worked out, man. I ended up coming back balling on the football field from year on. From my sophomore year to my senior year, end up, getting the Florida State offer and committing and getting a chance to do something that's really never been done before.
Well, was Lawrence the coach who recruited you, or was there a different coach?
Coach Darcy recruited. He wasn't my lead recruiter. Coach Pruitt was my lead recruiter. Also Coach Kelly, Jeremy Pruitt. He was a secondary coach at Alabama. This was my freshman year when I started getting recruited by them. Coach White was a coach, and he ended up sending me to the Alabama camp up there, and I ended up having a really good camp. First time ever going to a camp. I ended up getting camp MVP or something like that. Came back the next year, they was recruiting me. I think they offered me my junior year. Alabama did. I can't tell you, it was some other stuff that was going on, but yeah.
But let me ask you. Certainly, you knew of the rich history of the DBs at Northview from years in the past.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Johnson, Butch Henderson. I mean, Whaley. There's so many guys over the years.
Jane Falk was tough.
We could spend the next 30 minutes listening. Now, who was your DBs coach when you were at Northview?
I had a few. Honestly, I had a few. I think my senior year, it's crazy. My senior year, I'm not gonna say it like that, but put it like this. My senior year, my DB coach, I was 18 years old and he was 19.
Wow.
He had just graduated from Spanish Fort, and got into. I don't even know how he got into coaching. Like literally, he was so young. I don't even know how. Now that I think about it, I don't know how he was out there like coaching us. But he was literally teaching me drills. He's only like maybe 2 years older than me type deal my senior year. But I know I had a few. Coach Dawkins was my DB coach my freshman year. When he was there, I think he left and then went to Carroll. We got a few guys that helped out, but I just tried to come out every day and just get better, no matter what it was. Just compete. That's all it's really about.
Well, certainly, and this may be hard for you to narrow this down, but during your Northview football days, tell us about what's a great memory that you've got. Is there a particular play or game or atmosphere that you went through that just really will always be there with you?
I think it was Dalton High. My senior year was really good. We won more games because prior to that, my freshman year we won 3 games. My sophomore year we won 1 game, and in my junior year we won 3 games. We was just young like that whole time, man. We didn't, I don't think we had confidence as a team. I don't think we had, just the right leadership, just with everything, just between players, coaches, whatever you want to call it. And we were just trying to still learn how to win, man. Like, and that's when Northview went through a lot of times like that where we felt like we were just trying to get over the hump. But I think we went 6-4 my senior year. That Dalton High game, I had a big play in that game that I like, that I remember. And I would say the last game we played Prattville, I think I had like 3 touchdowns. 2 of them was like one-hand catches for like touchdowns. One was like a pick 6. I had a punt return they called back. What else, man? And then but not even just the games. I would say this: my best memories come from my teammates and the camaraderie and that we built. Like some of the friends, a lot of my friends that I met and I still have, I met through football, and even in high school, man. So when I think about those games, I don't really think about the wins. I think about the losses too, that we were still able to find joy in it, just at that age and, not take it too serious.
Well, who were some of your running buddies back in the day at Northview?
Man, I don't want to put them out, but Antonio Glasgow, Jalen Harris was my guy. We been friends since 6th, 7th grade. Who else? Travion Balkin, he played defensive line. JT Tillman. Who else? And I don't even like naming names. I don't want nobody to feel like, oh, he left my name out.
Well, I know that, and that just, I know you're a good friend to those fellas. Did any of those guys also play on the basketball team with you?
Jalen did. AJ Marshall, we best friends to this day. Really all my basketball teammates, man. Like we just in high school, you just had so much fun, man. Like just as kids, like we 16, 17, 18-year-old young men. We definitely wanted to win, but I think we found joy in other ways too, even when we lost, man. It was just fun.
Don't those days
we never get back?
Didn't those days just fly by? Didn't they go by?
And we grown now. We grown. We 7. Like I'm 25. All my friends 25, 26. Got kids.
You're such an old man. You're such an old guy right now. Well, take us to signing day your senior year. Did you sign? Was it a basketball scholarship or football? How was it couched at Florida State?
So I'll just take you through my whole senior year up until that point. My senior year, I quit football going into my senior year, I think. It was either my junior year or my senior year. I think it was my junior year. Anyways, my senior year, I was only considering 2 schools. I took an official to Alabama and I took an official to Florida State. I took the official to Alabama first. I was the #1 DB in the state, top 10 player in the state. Coach Saban was recruiting me really high, really heavily, but it was huge to me for me to be able to go to school and play both sports, to get the opportunity to play and let me decide on my own. Coach Saban, went up there with my family. Granted, my whole family is Alabama fans. Curtis McGriff is my cousin, so everybody wanted me to, go to Alabama. That's where your family went. I got some other family members went to Alabama. So my family wouldn't even go to Florida State to visit up until my official visit. And we talked to Saban. He said he would let me play. He said he would let me play basketball, but I don't think it would have went that way once I got there. Plus, it's Alabama. I had to make a career decision. It's Alabama. Yeah, I have an Alabama tattoo. That kind of tell you what type of fan I am, like up there, even to this day. But I wanted to go somewhere where I knew I would have an opportunity to compete fairly. And, I had to look at the depth chart, the guys that was already there. I actually wanted whatever I wanted to be a professional athlete. So a lot goes into, making that right decision. Coach Pruitt was recruiting me at Alabama at that time too. And then I took an official to Florida State. Fast forward to signing day, 2 or 3 days before signing day, I'm trying to commit to Alabama. I'm calling Coach Pruitt, trying to commit. he telling me to hold my commitment, basically, don't commit yet, kind of do it in the next couple of days. 2 days later, he ended up taking the defensive coordinator job at Florida State and signed me, Jalen Ramsey, and Nate Andrews as his DBs. Like, he was the only DBs in his class. And I really kind of gravitated towards Coach Pruitt, even though it's a business. He recruited me really hard, took care of me my freshman year when we was there. He ended up going to Alabama. I may have talked to him twice since, but, you know, him and Coach Charles Kelly and Coach Darcy put me in that position, you know, and believing in me. Showing my family a good time. We went on my official, ultimately led me to ending up going to Florida State. And that's how we got to where we at.
Wow. And it was always understood that you'd get to play both sports at Florida State?
Oh, yeah, it was definitely. Jimbo loved the fact he loved two-sport athletes because that's how he got a lot of guys there. Jalen Ramsey was an All-American in track. He could have went pro in track, too. That's what a lot of people don't know. Jameis Winston was playing baseball. Who else was playing? We got somebody else playing like another sport or running track. Kermit Whitfield was running track. So Jimbo liked he actually liked the thought of two-sport athletes. And, you know, just the basketball coach was really they was calling recruiting me too. Because the way it works, they can't offer you can sign if you sign a basketball scholarship, you can't play football. But if you sign a football scholarship, you can play basketball. But they don't have dual sport scholarships. So what it was, I signed as football, but it was guaranteed that I was going to play basketball. I could tell you like this, the year after we won, you'll probably ask me this question, so I'll let you get to it.
I don't know what I'm supposed to ask you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, man, because we ended up winning the national championship my freshman year. And it's crazy. Like, we partying and having fun. Freshman year of college, it was crazy. And I remember the basketball coach calling me at like 1 a.m, like, hey, this is Coach Hamilton are you still gonna play? You know, Coach Darcy told me, Coach Darcy texted me and was like, hey, the basketball coach said, call him. He didn't give me time to call him before he called me, and they was on the phone with all the assistants like, hey, we need you. You still playing basketball? You still rolling with us? Type deal. Because I would go down to Tallahassee all the time, like during high school, because I had linked up with a couple of guys Xavier Gibson was already there. So I had met guys through him, and, you know, it's doing basketball, you're able to be around the coaches a little more. So it's a little bit more personal. So they knew me, stuff like that. And they called me. I was actually in the club, and it was like, hey, are you coming? Are you still playing basketball? We need you. Our point guard isn't the starting point guard ain't eligible for the season. With a backup isn't eligible for the season. Was we real good friends too. Xavier Rathan Mays, he played at Florida State playing in the NBA. He wasn't eligible because he came from Canada type deal, and the grades didn't transfer over, something like that. And he was like, man, we want you to play. We want you to play. And 3 days after the national championship game, I was in the gym playing basketball, practicing. Running 3 weeks.
You know, it's already mid-January by this point, and you're getting into the ACC basketball season. I'm sure they needed you in a hurry.
I came in 12 games before the ACC tournament, so I played 12 games. I think I practiced. And this is what I'm gonna say: being in basketball shape is way different than football. I thought I was in shape coming straight off the football field, but I think I played the first game I got in. They played me like 7 minutes, and I probably slept until like 10 o'clock the next day because I was so tired, like running up and down the court.
Well, now during the football season, were you able to maintain your weight, or did you have any issues with your weight during the football season?
That was big. That was one of the big things that, you know, because that kind of made me veer away from basketball. Because I was there on a football scholarship. Jimbo wasn't going to make me quit, but it was requirements that he had for me that if I didn't meet, you know, it was like, you know, you got to hold up your end of the bargain. And one of them was making weight. I've always been naturally thin. But I think my freshman year, the most I weighed my freshman year was like 175. When I got to basketball season, I remember getting on the scale, I was like 165. Like, this is after doing like basketball.
Freshman year in high school weight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and being in college, like, nutrition ain't always the best thing. Like, they ain't always I wouldn't say the best thing, but it's not always at the forefront of your mind. So I was just going, man. I had to make a decision based off what was best for me.
Wow, absolutely. Well, what about let's kind of fast forward a little bit, Kes, and let's take it to your final year at Florida State, and you're getting ready for the football draft. And I know that annually is a big deal at Florida State, leading up to the combine, leading up to pro days and those kind of things. Were you able to train? Were you still playing basketball at that time, by this time? And were you able to train to get ready for pro days or the combine leading up to the draft?
Yeah, I put basketball up after my sophomore year.
Mhm.
Just had to make a career decision, man. What was best for me, because at the end of the day, I wanted to be a pro, but just the chances were better in football, and I feel like I fit more into what the pro scouts was looking for. I was a 6-foot corner versus a 6-foot point guard in the NBA, so those were a lot of things I had to look into it. But yeah, I was able to train after and it's a whole process. Just sports in general after you leave high school is a process, especially in college. I'm trying to go pro, all that. I went through the whole ordeal of training. I was battling like a hamstring injury my senior year, like the whole year. So I didn't really get to train like I wanted to, but I was lifting, trying to change my body type, just answer some of the questions that the scouts had. I actually trained in Dallas. I'm gonna tell you a funny story too. I trained in Dallas at this place called Michael Johnson, and my last pro day, like we would do like these mock combines, basically like how they do the combine on TV, like do all that. We actually did the mock combine before. It was our last workout before the actual combine in Indianapolis, and we ended up doing the last mock combine at the AT&T Stadium, and I ended up getting drafted by the Cowboys. So that's kind of weird. I don't know if it was weird, but it was like, that was the first time I had ever been in the Cowboys stadium, and then 3 months later I got drafted by them.
Yeah, but did you happen to look up in the sixth level? Maybe some guys with some binoculars were watching.
I wouldn't doubt it though. I would not. I really, because they was at the Senior Bowl too, and they would always come. Cowboys, like when you're in college, you play at Florida State, you see all the scouts, you see GMs, you see Belichick, you see Mike Tomlin, you see any coach, any NFL personnel in that building at some point. So just knowing that that was a goal and wanted to eventually be there with them guys.
Well, guys, I'm talking with Marquez White. We've gone through some of his Northview years, and we're getting through the Florida State years, and we're about to get drafted in the 2017 draft. But I can't get through that without asking you about many consider to be the greatest college and pro defensive back, Deion Sanders. Did Deion make appearances on campus? Did you guys ever interact with him?
The only time he came back was with Jalen. Came back one time. He come back. I think he's been back in the past couple of years, but I think it was like this whole thing between the story is he wanted a statue of him in front of the stadium. They wasn't trying to give him a stadium, so he was like, until he get a statue, he not coming back type deal or whatever. It went like that. And I know him and Jalen Ramsey are really close, and it was crazy. Jalen, this when he left and was training for the draft, and he came back for his pro day, and he walked in, and then Deion Sanders walked in, and it was like, damn, it's really Deion. And get an opportunity to just hear him speak. Yeah, it's cool, man. Deion, he's a GOAT. He definitely the GOAT.
Well, yeah, he definitely is. What did you feel was the best part of your game?
Just covering. I still, to this day, feel like when I'm in my zone and I'm in shape, it's not a lot of guys that get open. You look at me through high school, the numbers I put up, I think I gave up 4 or 5 catches in high school, like over my whole career. Like in the 3 years that I played corner, got to Florida State, still hold the lowest completion percentage, single season completion percentage in school history with like, I think it was like 31% my junior year. And just even in the league, in the games I played in my professional career, still hold guys to no catches or 1 catches, no catch game. So I feel like I'm a cover corner. That's always been the strongest point of my game.
Well, let's let's take it now to the 2017 draft. And you're preparing leading up to that, and you get drafted in the 6th round by the Cowboys. And how did you get the call, or who called you? Tell us about, very few people get that phone call. So take us there to that night or that day.
Man, it was. I'm gonna tell you, any young guy that's watching this or sees this, I'm gonna tell you, once you get out of college and you go into the pros and you wait on that call, I feel like that's the most stressful 3 days that I've ever had to go through in my life. Just knowing that, because it's a big deal to get drafted. You see Malik Reed, he actually didn't get drafted, but the impact that he's making now and the opportunities that he's making for himself now, is crazy. So you getting drafted doesn't really mean anything for real. But in everybody's head.
Let me pause you. For those of you who don't know, Malik played at Dothan High, played at Nevada for college.
Nevada.
And now where is he, Marquez?
He's in Denver, man, and Malik go play a long time. Let me tell you that. He's good. He's quick, and what the scheme he's in Denver, man, he go take somebody's job. Von Miller gotta get it right. But he go take somebody's job. Malik got it.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. You were taking us that stressful 3 days of the draft in 17.
Yeah. I knew I wasn't gonna be a first round pick. One of the things that I could have came out of school my junior year that had me slated to be 4th, 5th round pick. Got taught into coming back to school, hey, you'd be a 2nd, 3rd round pick, this and that. I think I went back and I didn't play the way I should have played, just playing with all the pressure, knowing that. And I didn't play bad. I didn't show enough. I feel like, but
Maybe
second day came.
They didn't throw your way as much because of your reputation from your junior years.
I felt like that hurt my game a lot. Me not seeing the ball helped. Like what I was doing hurt me in the long run. But just seeing the second day, they got the 1st round on the 1st day, the 2nd through the 4th round on the 2nd day, and the 5th through the 7th on the 3rd day. I wouldn't say I thought maybe I would have won in the 4th round on that 2nd day, but I wouldn't sleep, put my head on the pillow. I was like, okay, cool. The day gonna be my day, and they finna call me like in the next 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. It didn't happen that way. Went through the 5th round, called, and I'm seeing everybody. I'm like, damn, who is this dude? Like, this dude not better than me. He ain't better than me. And by the 6th round, I'm crying because I'm like, no, I lost. At that moment, I'm like, man, I done lost all this money. Like, I wanted this. Like, it was things that I had planned for myself that wasn't really in the plan. I had to kind of accept that even where I'm at now in my career. And I remember it was like all my family over there. They're telling me, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, man, y'all really don't get it. Like, it's not a lot of picks. We almost in the 7th round. And I remember my granddad saying, like, hey, we finna pray. Everybody join hands. We finna pray. And literally, I promise you, before he can even get like the first 3 words out of his mouth, the phone had rung. And everybody like, I'm still crying. I'm like, man, what's going on? I'm texting my agent and stuff. So the phone rung, and it didn't say Dallas. I think it said like Arlington, because I think it was calling from like the stadium. It said Arlington, Texas. So I picked the phone. I'm like, I hope, because people was calling my phone, playing with me that day, like all that. It was friends texting me, like BSing me and stuff. And I pick up the phone, and it was Coach Garrett. And I was like, hello. He was like, hey, Marquez, is this Marquez? I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, hey, it's Jason Garrett with the Dallas Cowboys. We want to let you know that Jerry Jones answered the phone. That's who called. Jerry Jones called and was like, hey, this is Marquez with the Whoop. I'm like, yes. He's like, okay, I want to let you know that you remember the Cowboys, all this and that. So just that excite, like, that was one of the best feelings that I've ever had, because it was something that I really set my mind to. All my friends from Florida State had went to NFL. We all played the same position. We was all roommates. So it was kind of like, man, I got to go. I got to get drafted. I got to do, this is the example they set for me. I got to follow suit. And, all the work that I had put in, in high school, in college, the work that was seen and unseen, I felt like with that call, it had paid off. But just as any professional know that that the words just start. Like the word starts after the call, not before, but it really starts after. And that's something you always got to stay true to.
Oh man, I got so many questions to ask you.
Okay.
What an outstanding story. Thank you for taking us there with you. I'm sure a very, very stressful time. But first of all, even though you see that it's Arlington on the phone, was there still a little bit of a doubt somebody's playing you until you heard Jerry Jones's voice and recognized it?
And I was just, and it was so many emotions, man. I was really just bummed that, I had knowing what I know now and being able to accept it, me being 25, it was all in God's plan. But then, I was just so caught up in what I wanted. Like I wanted to go earlier. Like I felt like I deserved to go earlier. Like I was better than some of these guys that went in front of me. But just like in that moment, there was a lot of things that day kind of set me up for kind of how my career went and is still going to this point.
Well, we've got a few more minutes left, and Marquez, I so thank you for sharing your story with us this evening. But I know that in 2019 you played with the Orlando Apollos,
Right?
And then, am I correct in saying in 2020 with the St. Louis BattleHawks?
Yes, sir.
And are you a member of the BattleHawks, or what's going on with you professionally right now?
The XFL, like it's crazy. 2 years back to back, both leagues that I played in has filed bankrupt. Last year we was in the AAF, which I'm gonna tell you, these are not slouch leagues. Like everybody that I played against, everybody I was in both leagues, we all played in NFL. We was all drafted. It was first, second round, third round pick, Super Bowl champions, all that, like in that room. So it wasn't a slouch league at all. But both leagues ended up filing bankrupt. This year was more so because of the pandemic. It's not currently a league right now. It's crazy. The sports world is just on a hiatus right now. You really don't know. If you're a professional athlete, you really don't know right now with your job, especially football.
They keep saying all these sports leagues are about to start. Major League Baseball spring training supposedly started today. That's a whole nother story for another day, but I just don't see how these sports leagues are going to be able to do it. I hope they do. We love our sports.
You do, but can't, like, not with the safety and everything going on, man. I love sports. I love it. Like, you breathe it. But me knowing what it is, just hearing the things I hear, like, man, they just trying to keep people calm. Sports is what it is, like, because they got to figure out how to be able to keep people safe, and they can't keep people safe. Like,
You're so right about that. But before we get out of here, I want to talk about, I know you had your jersey retired at Northview a few years back.
yes, sir.
Take us to that time period. Take us to that day.
I just think that's a testament of all the hard work that I put in. I always wanted to leave my legacy at Northview, man. I love that school. I still call it Northview because that's what, I've been born and bred and, all these years. But just me getting opportunity to have my jersey retired is really, I feel like, cementing my legacy and the things I was able to do, at that high school. And I go back and I have to look at some of the things I did too, that I accomplished in my career when I was in high school. And, I think I set the bar. And I'm anxious to see who go top it. It's a lot of talented young guys right now in the area on that Dothan team, man. And the sky's the limit for all of them, man.
Marquez White, one of Northview's best. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us this evening.
I appreciate it for inviting me on.
Absolutely. Well, guys, it's another outstanding conversation. It's been so much of a pleasure for me each week. We're going to keep doing these conversations with Cougars. You guys have a great rest of your week. Please be safe. Wear your mask. Just use common sense. And we will see you guys another week. Y'all be well. Marquez, don't go anywhere just yet.
Cool.